We've discussed getting book reviews countless times here on this podcast. This is, of course, the second part in the series, and a lot of people probably got their heads and they're scratching them and going, okay, you're going to talk about editorial book reviews. How does this have anything to do with getting book reviews? Well, it has a lot to do with that because there's so many people that are investing editorial book reviews that probably shouldn't. And then conversely speaking, there are some people that aren't investing in editorial book reviews, have the discretionary expense, and should invest in it. So we're going to talk about that in today's podcast, so make sure you stick around. What's happening? It's Dale here, and I'm just tickled to death you took a little bit of time out your day to spend a little bit of time with me to talk about my favorite thing, and that is self-publishing books. Folks, listen, this podcast would not be at all possible if it weren't for support of you listening to me on the various podcasting platforms, including Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, so many other ones, Google Play. You get the idea, or you even watching me over on the YouTube podcast. That means the world to me, but also those that cover the overhead costs, the sponsors, the ones that really help this little engine that could keep moving up the hill. I want to give a big shout out over to Author Brand Kits. Should you have an author website? Absolutely. I don't believe you should go without it. If you'd like a done-for-you option, that's right, no more grinding out on a WordPress or Wix site and hoping for the best, you got to look over at Author Brand Kits. My assistant runs this service. Yeah, I'm a little bit biased, obviously, and she handles it all for you. She's handled my own. So you can actually take a look at my own author website and see examples of how this works. They handle out email, WordPress, and so much more. Don't sleep on this, folks. Go over to dalelinks.com/ABK to take 25% off for a limited time. Folks, if you've been needing to get an author website, if you've been meaning to get your email, custom email set up, if you're meaning to get domain names set up, if you're meaning to get any of your email marketing set up, your social media set up, guess what? You gotta go do this, dalelinks.com/ABK today. You'll thank me later. Let's go ahead. We're gonna regurgitate just a little bit of information when it comes to getting reviews, because if you just happen to be tuning in for the first time, welcome. The value of the review of a book. First of all, it aids in third-party credibility. Having somebody else say, hey, this book is great, is a way that browsing customers or potential readers are going to be a little more susceptible or a little more willing to, first of all, purchase your book, or even more so, read your book. Also, getting reviews helps out with marketing, because you can go out and say, yay, my book is amazing, but somebody else says that your book was amazing, you can grab a little quote there. Fair use, folks. We'll go ahead and share that on out there and say, hey, this book is great. Says, I don't know, Engelbert Humperdinck, whoever it might be. That was probably not a great example. And there's also another theory. When it comes to reviews, it also helps out in search engine optimization, because by having even more data on your product page or put with your book online, it will generate more traffic and more discoverability. Now, again, that's a theory, especially over on the Amazon platform. So now we've gotten the reviews part out the way. What about editorial book reviews? What the heck are those? Because you hear this quite often, and some people are like, well, I don't know anybody in newspaper. I don't know an editor. How am I supposed to do this? Au contraire. Independent Book Review summarizes it best when they say this. I'm going to read it verbatim. And an editorial book review is an unbiased, reader-focused review of your published or soon-to-be published book, often used by publishers on marketing material like book covers, posters, and on the editorial reviews section on their Amazon sales page. That last part's a really nice one, and we're going to put a pin in that because we're going to come back to that probably towards the end. So what is an editorial review like? This varies per platform. Say that 10 times fast. This varies per platform, and it really depends on what they offer. Most instances, an editorial review with specific service sites, they tend to have more discerning readers and people that are going to give you a more detailed review. Places like Kirkus and Union Square Review have readers who will pick every last detail about your book apart. That includes the cover design, the ad copy, aka your book description, your title choice, the content, everything. It's very, very detailed. The nice thing about editorial reviews is they make them really good and long. They're not going to just be like your normal Amazon book review where it's like, this was a great book review. I gave it to my grandmother. I loved it. That type of a review just doesn't really cut the mustard when it comes to third-party credibility. You really need someone who says precisely what this book is and why they enjoyed it, or maybe why they didn't enjoy it. And then with that editorial review, you're able to kind of have some information that you can use as marketing collateral and put that out there and get it to where people potentially buy more. Now, there are some other forms of editorial reviews that are not as professional as, let's say, as Kirkus or, say, Union Square Review. I'm not going to point any figures or say anyone specific, but, let's just say that a blogger posts a review about your book on their website. Technically, that's an editorial review because it's an outside source. Maybe someone views that blogger as an expert of some sort, so that definitely qualifies as an editorial review. All right, so you're probably saying to yourself, it's all well and good, Dale. What's the cost? Because I know this is what you're going to be getting to. I'm glad that you said this. Now, stick around, folks. You don't listen to be like, oh, I heard the number, how much it's going to cost, and just tune out. Because I'm going to share with you how you can be able to select what's right and what's wrong for you. Most times, editorial reviews are going to cost as little as $50 to as much as $575 or even more, depending on how much you're going to be buying as far as the quantity goes. To be clear, when you get an editorial review, that usually does not consist of them doing the review and posting it on Amazon. No. Because that's buying reviews. It's against the terms of service over on Amazon, so they don't do that. It's okay. I think you understood that, though. Editorial reviews will be simply something that they're going to share on their website, maybe to their email list, maybe to their YouTube channel, so on and so forth. You're just able to take the editorial review and place it where you would like. A few of them on top of my head here. I'm just going to kind of go through some of them. This is not an exhaustive list, but I want to kind of give you an example. Reader's Favorite. Okay, probably not my favorite site, no pun intended, when it comes to buying editorial reviews, but they do offer a free editorial review that you can get through them. Really nice. Just go over to Reader's Favorite, pick it on up, you'll thank me. But then you have more premium service on the site that goes up to $199, and I think they give you upwards of 5 or more reviews, and they'll post it to numerous platforms except for Amazon. More recently, back in September to October, I got with the website Reedsy. If you never heard of Reedsy, go check it out. You'll thank me later. REEDSY is the name of that platform. There's something that's called Reedsy Discovery. And they have, for $50, you actually will get a review that you can be able to post on your book. Now, it'll put it out into the marketplace over on Reedsy Discovery to where any of their readers can be able to pick it up and leave a review. And at that point, you could be able to take that review and post it elsewhere. There's other perks involved with Reedsy Discovery. So, for instance, if you get enough upvotes, they'll go ahead and serve you over into their email newsletter. But for the most part, at least you have like a nice little page devoted to your book and even a sample of your book there. So that way it entices people. And if they want to buy it, there's a link that will link out over to where it's at online. I liked it. $50, it wasn't too bad. I probably will return to the well on that one again very soon. Independent Book Review. I actually mentioned them inside the quote earlier on. I believe they actually are a partner of Ally, the Alliance of Independent Authors, but I could be completely off on that. We'll have to fact check that, but I'll say loosely, I think they're one of the ones that are approved. They have editorial reviews for as low as $85 to as much as $195. Depends a lot on length and your expectations and delivery time because they have some expedited services. So for instance, the $195 one is like an expedited service for, I think, like an 80,000 word manuscript, something like that. Now, next one. By far, my favorite of all of them, because I've had experience with them, is Union Square Review. They're relatively new to the game, but don't let it fool you that they're new because they actually are underneath Dart Frog Books. Now, Dart Frog Books is an ally partner with an excellent rating. So you're probably saying, okay, what's the big deal with the ally? Why do you keep mentioning this? Because the Alliance of Independent Authors is a nonprofit organization, and they vet out and weed out all the undesirables and point out the people that they find are the best. You can't just simply slap down a $50 bill and say, ally, you're going to give me an excellent rating. They just can't be bought. They are very, very strict. So when people can get through that vetting process, that's a good thing. Not to say, though, Union Square Review is on that list yet. Since they're still new, they can't apply for that yet. But Dart Frog Books has that. And Dart Frog Books actually has a very, very wide distribution. They are print on demand. They can get into brick and mortar stores. Really do like what Dart Frog Books has to offer. Okay, with that being said, got that all the way because I wanted to put context to this. Union Square Review runs for, ready for this, brace yourselves, $289 to as much as $499. Now, I think the $499 model was up to 2 reviews, so you actually get more of a price break if you get 2 reviews at the same time. If you have a picture book, you can get it reviewed for $189, so it's significantly cheaper. By the way, I do have an affiliate link if you visit dalelinks.com/Union Square Review. Let them know I sent you on over there. I got a review of Amazon Keywords for Books, and I just loved it. It tore my book apart. Gave me a 4-star review. It didn't hurt because everything that the editorial review stated made sense to me. Like, I could get behind that, some of the information that they had shared. Next one up is actually called NetGalley. Now, NetGalley comes at a higher premium and they have a more discerning reader base. They run about $450 for a 6-month package. Now, this means 6 months you can actually have your book listed on their site and a number of reviewers can go ahead and review all your stuff. I've yet to test out NetGalley, but a good friend of mine, Julie Broad from booklaunchers.tv, she uses them and says they're really good. They just have very discerning readers. Just be very careful. And I'm going to get to that in just a second when it comes to editorial reviews and bracing yourself. Last but not least, I think I would be completely remiss if I didn't at least address Kirkus. Kirkus reviews are the cream of the crop, the best of the best. They've been around this industry for so long. They run... Oh, yes. I hope you're wearing some undergarment of some sort that you aren't fond of, or maybe you're wearing a set of Depends because you might poop yourself when I tell you this. $425 to $575. Now, their model's a little different in that they will write up to a certain amount of characters or words, for a specific review. So the lower end is $425 and the higher end is $575. And I think if you want it expedited, it's even more. Picture books are $350. Okay, we got all that out the way. Who are editorial reviews good for? The very first thing I'm going to say is anyone with a discretionary budget. If you do not have the money to spare, you should not be putting it into editorial book reviews. I'm sorry. There might be some folks out there that are going to probably beat me up because they probably make a living from their editorial book review service. But it is a nice to have, not an essential. It is not something that's going to be the thing that just gets you millions of dollars of book sales. It's just merely something that will enhance your author platform. And it also will get it to where you understand your strengths and identify your weaknesses from an outside party perspective. You're not going to normally get that through regular reviews from normal readers. Getting it from experienced folks makes a huge bit of difference. And I'm not just talking about the editor you paid for. Sometimes they can even be biased. Whereas when it's a little further outside of your bubble, getting the editorial review is going to make a difference. But anyone with a discretionary budget, it's all game. If you don't have the money to spare, do not spend it on that. Next thing is established authors and experienced marketers. If you're already established, great. That means you're probably making a little bit of extra cash that you can afford this. If you're an experienced marketer as well, you'll know how to leverage having that. So just the same as you would for a book award, Having an editorial review is a great marketing tool. So experienced marketers or even semi-experienced marketers as well as established authors, anyone needing an extra set of eyes on their work, as I mentioned before, one of the things that really helped me out is when I was putting together my 3-part series to the Amazon Self-Publisher. The very first book was Amazon Keywords for Books. I put that through Union Square Review. As I kind of mentioned, they let me have it. But I'll tell you, it was so worth it because it opened my eyes and I was able to share it with my current editor, and we were able to adjust course on the following 2 books because some of the criticisms that were put into book number 1, we were able to say, okay, let's go ahead and fix that for future publications. And it really, really helped out with that feedback. All right, who are editorial reviews not for? Newbies. All right? More importantly, newbies with very little extra cash flow. If you're new to this business and you haven't published a book, you've got the discretionary budget, definitely do it. I wouldn't recommend going all in on that because you should probably be using that marketing spend on more active marketing, things like paid ads versus getting an editorial book review. Because again, most editorial book reviews, they might give you some extra perks of marketing your book, but it has very limited reach than, say, Amazon ads, which is going to be a lot cheaper and a little bit more effective. The next thing is anyone with thin skin. If you cannot take constructive criticism, don't get editorial book reviews. I'm going to say this right now. If you're the type of person that goes into a violent fit of rage when you see a 1-star review on your book, don't get it. Don't get it. The nice part is, though, you can breathe a sigh of relief that most editorial book review services do offer the ability to publish or not publish your editorial review. So if for some reason you didn't agree with it, so Union Square Review gave me the right to allow it to publish or not publish. Of course, I allowed it to publish because I really loved it. But in the event it was a 1-star review, I probably would have said, no, let's not publish that. Let's fix it and let me come back to you when I have my issues fixed. So just know if you have thin skin, this might not be the option for you to go for. But if you are receptive to the constructive feedback and sharing it with the public at large, then editorial reviews will definitely be for you. Folks, we're coming around the bend, and I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on this beautiful little gift called editorial book reviews. Very first thing I want to say is special thanks to our sponsors, Author Brand Kits. You all know that I recommend building a brand to sell more books. Now there's a service that can handle that for you. Check out Author Brand Kits. They take care of everything for you. Everything from the websites to the email to the social media and so much more. I could do an entire podcast about it. Instead, you're just going to go on over to dalelinks.com/ABK. The link to that is going to be in the description as well as all the other links I've mentioned so far today. Final tips. Listen. Editorial book reviews, I kind of slide that underneath reviews, but I can also slide it a little bit into marketing and promotion as far as that bucket goes, because it is a little bit of a gamble. You're having to spend money on something that you hope will have a return on the investment. Invest only what you can stand to lose. That means don't put money into this going, oh, I'm going to get a 5-star review on it. This is great. It's the awesomest thing. No, slow your roll. You're going to find it might check your ego. But if you're open to that feedback, then chances are very likely your readers are going to probably appreciate as you adjust your sale and adjust course to where the editorial review is a little bit more in alignment with your publications. There's never any guarantee on what it provides you, folks. Having third-party credibility is a nice thing to have. Sure, you increase the likelihood of someone buying it by somebody else saying, yes, this book is what it says it is. But it's not the be-all, end-all, and especially if you can get reviews without having to pay for them, getting them organically, for instance. And we talked about that in the past podcast. Double check the source, by the way, before you go invest in an editorial review. Double check it. Are they reliable? Are they somebody you can lean on? Now, I've mentioned this before. The Alliance of Independent Authors actually has a watchdog service. You can go ahead and just Google it on up. Look it on up or go over to dalelinks.com/watchdog. It's a non-affiliate link. You go on over there, search up an editorial review service. If it's there, great. You'll be able to see their rating if it checks out. If it's not there, you can always request to have it being checked out. Referrals are always the best. And that's one of the reasons why I mentioned the review services that I had, because I've used a couple of those before, and some of them I've known peers that have used it before. So just be very careful you have not heard of the service, because you don't want to invest in something and it just turns out to be complete garbage. And speaking of not being garbage, Union Square Review, folks. I've worked with them before. They provided a fantastic service. They gave me 1 review. I'm going to definitely be going back to the well for that. Go over to dalelinks.com/Union Square Review. That's my affiliate link. So if you purchase something there, I get a little small financial kickback, but it does not influence how I feel about them, because if I thought they were garbage, I probably wouldn't say anything at all. Also, if you get an editorial review, take at least a 1 to 2 sentence blurb from it, a little snippet, if you will, for fair use. You're going to share it over on your Amazon author profile. By the way, I show you how to do it in a new video series I published over on YouTube about Amazon Author Central. Go over to dalelinks.com/author central. Again, that's dalelinks.com/author central, and I'll show you how to do that. Grab a copy of Amazon Reviews for Books inside my newest compilation, the Amazon Self-Publisher. When you go on over to dalelinks.com/self-pub-book, or you can even just, if you want to get the reviews book, go to dalelinks.com/reviews-book. Next week, we're going to be talking about building an advanced reader copy team. Hey, subscribe or follow me on your preferred podcasting platform and leave me a review. And someone did leave a review. This was actually Nick Chelson over in Apple Podcasts back in January. Go-to for self-publishing, 5 stars. Dale is my go-to for all things self-publishing. This podcast is great for anyone who wants to begin self-publishing but doesn't know where to start. Nick, thank you so much for the kind review. If you can do me a favor, leave a review on your preferred podcasting platform, or you can actually watch me on YouTube. When you subscribe on over on my YouTube podcast channel, we're almost ready to hit 1,000 subscribers there. dalelinks.com/YouTube podcast. Drop a comment if you happen to be watching this live over on YouTube. And also join me on my main channel, dalelinks.com/YouTube. Believe it or not, I got about 47,000 subscribers right now. Are you one of them? If you're not, come join the 50K sub club. So that would be really, really awesome. In the meantime, folks, I will catch up with you next week. Take care.